Once upon a time, at the edge of a quiet forest, there stood a small stone cottage wrapped in ivy and wildflowers. In that cottage lived a widow and her 2 daughters. Though they shared the same roof, their hearts could not have been more different. But the elder daughter, ClariS, loved herself above all else. She admired her reflection in every shiny surface and believed the world existed to serve her. Her words were often sharp.
This is absolutely unacceptable! I told you exactly what I expected, and yet here we are again with nothing but excuses.
She avoided work whenever she could and spent her days dreaming of comfort and praise. The younger daughter, Maryanne, was gentle and kind. She spoke softly and moved carefully, as if she did not wish to disturb the peace around her. Her hands were rough from work, and her clothes were mended again and again, yet her eyes always carried warmth. Where ClariS turned away from responsibility, Maryanne stepped forward. Each morning before the sun rose, Maryanne swept the cold floor, lit the fire, and kneaded bread for the day. She washed clothes by the stream and tended the small garden of herbs and flowers behind the cottage. ClariS slept late and complained about the meals and the dust.
Honestly, the dust in here is unbearable, and I simply won't eat that dreadful porridge again.
And the widow often scolded Maryanne while praising her elder daughter.
How many times must I tell you the same thing? You neglect your duties while ClariS excels. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do with you.
One hot summer afternoon, the air grew heavy and still. The widow reached for the water pitcher and found it empty. Annoyed, she called for Maryanne and ordered her to go to the distant spring in the forest.
Maryanne, get in here this instant.
Yes, stepmother.
Where the water was cold and clear. Though the path was long and the sun was fierce, Maryanne lifted the heavy jug and set off without protest. The road wound through dry grass and tangled bushes. Thorns tugged at her dress, and dust clung to her feet and throat. Bees hummed lazily in the heat, and even the birds hid among the leaves. By the time she reached the old stone well hidden beneath vines and moss, her arms trembled with exhaustion. As she filled her jug, she noticed an old woman standing nearby. The woman was bent with age and leaned on a crooked staff. Her clothes were torn and faded, and her face looked weary and dry. The old woman asked gently,
Could you spare a sip of water, dear one?
Maryanne did not hesitate. She rinsed the jug, filled it again with the coldest, clearest water, and held it carefully for the woman to drink. She smiled and wished her well, as though helping a stranger was the most natural thing in the world. The old woman straightened and looked at Maryanne with eyes that suddenly shone like starlight. In a shimmer of light, her ragged clothes turned into robes of silver and gold. She was no beggar, but a fairy of the woods.
Purity such as yours is a rare and precious thing in these shadowed times. You have my thanks.
The fairy thanked Maryanne for her kindness and told her that few hearts were so pure that they gave without hoping for a reward. As a gift, she touched Maryanne's lips and said that from that day on, whenever she spoke, A flower or a precious jewel would fall from her mouth as a reflection of the goodness in her heart. With that, the fairy vanished like mist in the sunlight. Shaken and amazed, Maryanne lifted her jug and hurried home. Her mother was waiting in the doorway, impatient and angry, and demanded to know why she had taken so long. Maryanne apologized softly, and as she spoke, 2 roses, a pearl, and a shining diamond fell onto the floor that the widow stared in disbelief. As Maryanne explained what had happened at the well, more jewels and blossoms scattered across the cottage. The widow's surprise.
I don't know how it happens, but the words turn into these lovely things.
Quickly turned into greed.
You must go to the distant spring tomorrow morning and do exactly as your sister did. Do you understand?
So that they might become rich beyond their dreams. ClariS complained about the heat and the long walk. But when she saw the glittering pile of gems, she agreed. The next day, she took a silver pitcher and stomped down the dusty path, practicing polite words she did not mean. When she reached the well, she did not see an old beggar. Instead, a beautiful lady stepped from the trees, dressed in fine velvet and gold. The lady asked sweetly for a drink of water. ClariS scoffed.
Pardon the intrusion, but might I trouble you for a sip of water from your pitcher?
I have not come all this way to serve anyone.
The lady's smile faded, and in a flash of light, she revealed herself as the fairy once more. The fairy told ClariS that her heart was cruel.
Your heart is cruel, and your gift shall reflect your spirit.
From that moment on, for every word ClariS spoke, a toad or a snake would fall from her mouth.
What is happening to me? Make it stop! Please make it stop!
The fairy disappeared, leaving ClariS alone by the well. ClariS returned home, laughing at what she thought was a silly trick, until she opened her mouth to speak. A slimy toad hopped onto the floor, followed by a hissing snake. The widow screamed and backed away in horror. With every angry word ClariS uttered, more creatures appeared. Terrified and ashamed, ClariS ran from the cottage and into the forest, never to return. Some say she still wanders the woods, unable to find anyone who will listen to her speak. Maryanne, frightened by what had happened and saddened by her mother's anger, left the cottage as well. She walked along the road in tears, not knowing where she would go. Before long, a royal carriage passed by. Inside sat a young prince, returning from a journey. He saw Maryanne walking alone and stopped to ask why she was so sorrowful.
Are you all right? You look troubled.
I am fine, thank you, Your Highness.
As she answered, pearls and flowers fell at his feet, amazed by both the magic and the kindness in her voice.
Please, come with me to the palace.
Your kindness is a gift we must honor.
The king and queen welcomed her, and when she spoke to them, diamonds rolled across the marble floor. The king declared that a girl whose words brought such beauty would surely bring prosperity and peace to the kingdom. In time, Maryanne became the prince's bride. Her wedding was celebrated across the land, and wherever she went, flowers bloomed and hope followed. The people loved her for her gentle heart and her humble ways, and the kingdom flourished under her care. And so, the world learned a simple truth. Harsh words can create fear and misery, while gentle words can bring light and wonder. Kindness costs nothing, yet it has the power to make even the poorest life rich beyond measure.